That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Chat was on Fox News today. May Day activists push left-wing's pro-socialist agenda. Are you going to be covering the upcoming attempt to gerrymander Tennessee for the second time in 4 years to strip Memphis of representation like they did with Nashville? No. Maybe. Possibly. He's clicking all the links, chat. You can poop sock him. Yeah, I feel like you guys are taking advantage of my weakness here, and you're sending me links that is, you know, it's not good. All right. Yeah. Recap wise, what is this, a poop sock?
If you think Hasan Piker is the problem, you're actually propagandized. Every time I hop on.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, first of all, this demographic profile is the backbone of any active movement in the United States of America. This is like we got the moms, we got the white moms in the suburbs on our side. It's over.
Line recently, I see both conservatives, liberals condemning Hasan Piker. Whether he's a radical communist threat to democracy or somehow impeding Democrat voices by being too left, he streams all day, every day, talking about the flaws in both parties, which I all think we can agree that there are flaws in both parties right now. And if...
Okay, to be fair, I don't know if she's a mom or not. No disrespect. I didn't... This is giving suburban sweetheart, though. This fit is fitting. You know what I mean?
His valid complaints and concerns about our political system trigger you, maybe you're the problem. And I'm not saying that you can't disagree with him on certain aspects, certain viewpoints whatsoever. However, if you feel triggered by what he is saying, maybe take a step back.
It is glamorous. It is glamorous. It's glam. Too late, the nuke already landed. I'm just saying, dude. This is giving country club, okay?
Ask yourself, whose interest is my belief serving? Because for the most part, if not all of it, Hasan represents the working class American. He wants people to have healthcare. He wants people to afford to go to school and to live good lives without prioritizing billionaires or foreign countries. So if something within that triggers you, maybe you need to take a step back and figure out who actually is benefiting from your viewpoints.
Because what is this? I cannot imagine how you stay humble with this much female attention all the time. I become a narcissist. 40 minutes into this stream and 2 women have expressed carnal interest in this dude and I'm jealous as hell. Unfollowed. Bro, don't unfollow. What the hell?
If Hasan is the problem, then your viewpoints benefit somebody else. Think of Hasan as like ayahuasca. He is reflecting the parts in which you are propagandized that you're just not ready to see, whether you're on the right or the left.
Damn.
And you can say that he's wealthy, he's well off, yet he's a socialist. He does not run any ads on his Twitch stream. His Twitch stream is supported by the viewers, and his life...
Piker Broadcasting Service, you already know what to do. Yeah, that's right. Your subscriptions are supporting independent media. Piker Broadcasting Service, People's Broadcasting Service. Don't unfollow. Subscribe instead. Use your Twitch Prime, which is free, by the way. Twitch Primes are free. Twitch Primes are free. Use your Twitch Primes here. Or gift a sub if you got it.
Allows him to go to different places. Like he was just in Michigan. He's going to New York. He's going to Philadelphia. He's making an influence where he can. He's not the problem. Billionaires, foreign countries, corporations are. And he's highlighting all of that and you don't like it.
That's true. Damn. Another banger. 2 bangers in a row. Don't unfollow. It's not just listing. We yell at him too. Okay. I just praised you for covering women's issues today, and you had to ruin it by commenting on homegirl's appearance instead of her words. I'm going back to hating you now, femininely. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it as a demographic voter profile, you know? I just entered the first thing I hear. Think of Hasan like ayahuasca. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we got this, which we were covering. We got Fox News, May Day. I've noticed that, like, so May Day is like, May Day has its roots in the American labor movement. The American working class is a part of the international working class. Okay. However, Labor Day in the United States of America is not on May 1st. We have our own Labor Day, right? And I think that's by design. Even though the initial May Day is an international, it's an international event, but like it has its roots in America, okay? It is the commemoration of the Haymarket movement, the Haymarket affair, if you want to call it that, or the Haymarket riots, right? And what's fascinating about it is that regardless of its inception, workers striking for an 8-hour workday, facing violent class trader police confrontation, it's a day of, it's an International Workers' Day, celebrating labor rights. And we try to do that here on the broadcast every Friday. That's like part of the reason why I always celebrate Fridays with Mufasa. The reason why I celebrate it is because it's to commemorate and it's to show respect to the workers that came before us, that worked long and hard and actually, even lost their lives. Like they put tremendous sacrifice into this movement, into labor militancy, to get some of the amenities that we take for granted now, like the weekend, the abolition of child labor, and many other workplace protections that in many visible and also invisible ways help us, right? Make our lives a little bit easier. And that's what's so interesting, I guess, about like American labor history. American labor history is very radical at times, right? And it's not so radical nowadays. But I will say that May Day participation from the broader labor movement year over year, the increase of May Day participation from the American labor movement year over year, I think shows promise. It says something. It shows that like there is an increase in class consciousness in this country, and there's an increase in workers recognizing their class position in this country. So I see that as a positive trajectory. Okay. The Haymarket Memorial is the smallest statue on the side of a busy street that didn't go up until 2004. The plaques on it from all around the world kind of fucked me up. The rest of the world genuinely cares about it more than anyone around here. Right? Site of the Haymarket tragedy. On the evening of May 4th, 1886, a tragedy of international significance unfolded in the site in Chicago's Haymarket Produce District. An outdoor meeting had been hastily organized by anarchist activists to protest the violent death of workers during a labor lockout the previous day in another area of the city. Spectators gathered in the streets as speakers addressed political, social, and labor issues from atop a wagon that stood at the location of this monument. When approximately 175 policemen approached with an order to disperse the meeting, a dynamite bomb was thrown into their ranks. And you have the Iraqi trade unionists commemorating it. Okay? You have the Swedish Trade Unionist Confederation commemorating it. It's interesting. It's interesting that like this day is unbelievably significant for the international labor movement, and yet Americans don't have a national like public holiday around it, even though many countries around the world, even in like places like Europe, Turkey, where I grew up, May Day is very significant. May Day is when trade unionists, socialists, communists alike get together and participate in a day of action, a day of protest. And I grew up watching cops tear gas and use water cannons on protesters from the labor movement. And it's the same sight almost everywhere around the world. Now, of course, that's a testament to the way that capitalist countries treat their working class when they demand more, right? When they demand what's just, when they want to take home more of their productive output, right? And it's interesting because when you look at May Day celebrations in countries run by communist governments, for example, it's very different. In Cuba, it's a day of celebration. Mass movement, mass mobilization took place in Cuba yesterday. Same with China. In places, in places that at least cherish a socialist history, the more labor protections these countries have, or the more they cherish this revolutionary history, the less resistance there is from the police. And in the United States of America, there's not really a lot of police resistance, not a lot of police presence at all, because it's altogether forgotten. But I think it's changing. It was very interesting to observe this significant day for the international working class have more mobilization than I have ever seen in the United States of America in my lifetime. And it's only going to keep growing from here on out. That's the way I see it. But let's take a look at how Fox News covered it.
They're sweeping the country with left-wing groups organizing on a pro-socialist platform, calling to tax the rich. Watch.
The idea that my politics are too radical, I find somewhat laughable. It's not surprising that the Republican Party is going to attack me with that. I mean, these are a lot of people who've never worked a day in their lives. And if they have, it certainly hasn't been with their hands.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown. And if, you know, the ones that leave, like, bye.
The reasoning has always been from centrist Democrats claiming that people like AOC, people like Zohran Mamdani, people like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib can only win in deep blue areas. Deep blue areas where the electorate resembles a genderqueer English major that is getting an education in a liberal arts college with 150 other people. Okay, that's not the case.
Some blue cities like Chicago are even disrupting schools to drive student participation, letting them skip.
They put Father Jihad on there. I mean, you're dead ass on the news regularly. How's that feel? Feels weird. Feels very strange. I don't like to be perceived like this. I like to control who perceives me. Things were a lot better when it was just us in here. You know what I mean? Nowadays, the HasanAbi Clips Industrial Complex, as the chatter just pointed out, has moved to mainstream media. They are my clippers. The drama farmers on the independent side of YouTube have nothing on Fox News at this point. They're in here all day, every day. Oh my God, look at this. Virtually every single outlet has written a piece. New York Post has, oh, Jesus Christ. Post has two articles. Socialism, Mamdani's alma mater. Less than a third of New York City's Jewish voters think Mamdani's doing a good job. Jesus Christ, dude. David Marcus, rise of Marxism is a hydra Democrats created but can't control. Fox News, Los Angeles Times. Camera, normalizing Assam Pakistan extremism. Camera is an Israeli operation, by the way. The Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting and Analysis is a major pro-Israel media watchdog. Yeah, it's literally an Israeli agent. New York Sun, National Review, Times of Israel. The fuck Times of Israel got to do with me? I hope the chatter that made this site got some free merch or something. Whatever the chatter wants. In any case, let's get back to it.
It's the Chicago Teachers Union declaring it a day of civic action. And as the labor movement continues getting traction with young people embracing a pro-socialist platform, one protester doesn't even know what he's rallying behind. Watch.
You got the Party for Socialism. You believe in socialism?
Not necessarily. Kind of.
You know what socialism is?
Not really. Not too much, but.
Bro, that's a kid. That's a child. You're putting a microphone on a child. He'll learn. Leave the child alone. He's like 14 years old, man.
Yeah.
Saturday in America host Kayleigh McEnany is here now. You know, Kayleigh, I look
Who stuck the little man with that PSL poster, by the way? That's so funny.
at this, and I really miss Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, he was somebody who was on the campus.
I mean, come on.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll honor his name.
This is in the most effective way possible, which is why I think they took him out, why they executed.
Bro, what are we talking about? Are we really talking about how stupid people are in any movement? Like, we're talking about the lack of knowledge amongst Americans on issues like socialism. All four of these dumbasses don't know what socialism is either. Why? Why is that? If that's the standard for intellect, I mean, which, by the way, benefits our side of the argument, let's be real. But if this idea is that if you know what socialism truly represents, then you're a truly intelligent person, then none of the four dickheads on this panel actually meet that standard at all. And most Americans don't either. Most Americans are unbelievably propagandized against what socialism is. They're lied to about what socialism represents. They're told that it's a terrifying prospect. They're told it's a bad thing. Most Americans don't know why it's a bad thing, right? At least that guy is somewhat curious. I will take intellectual curiosity instead of shutting off this alternative mode of organizing the economy. Curiosity towards socialism is infinitely better than assuming you know what socialism is and you hate it, especially when you're a working class individual. Anyway.
He was effective in pushing back on what the left has been trying to do. They've had a captive audience for decades with indoctrination. And Charlie and Turning Point were providing that answer on campus, weren't they?
Yeah, and Charlie...
Well, Turning Point USA still exists, so why are you shitting on Erica Kirk? Are you saying that currently Erica Kirk is not carrying the flame?
We are Charlie Kirk.
Like, I don't understand. Is that the frustration here? Because I feel like Erica Kirky is carrying the flame. It's not like Charlie was like the most competent individual either, you know? He got carried a lot. He got carried by massive Republican mega donors, you know, titans of industry. He also got carried by the TikTok algorithm when the Chinese Communist Party was like terrified of TikTok being blocked in the country. So they were like, oh, we'll lean into this Trump shit, you know, which I guess gave him a stay of execution. And then they inevitably ended up giving TikTok to Americans anyway, which, let's be real. If I'm Chinese, I'm thinking, yeah, it was an unbelievable W that we got Donald Trump elected. Okay? Straight up. Who could have foreseen this? I don't think anyone could have foreseen this except for that one guy, the one Chinese father who famously said Trump is a great nation builder, but for China. It's true. He is. He has done tremendous damage to American empire, right? He has proven the acceleration is right. He's still doing that. Stay of execution is a wild Freudian slip. Wait, what do you mean? No, it's true. A stay of execution for TikTok. It came because TikTok did everything in its power to open up the algorithmic faucet in the direction of Donald Trump, and the guy who took advantage of that most was Charlie Kirk.
Understood that while this is a failed ideology, it's also a potent one.
Yes.
And it's one that has to be countered. I mean, I've heard others say, oh, Zoran Mamdani, Katie Wilson laughing this off. It's socialist. It's just deep blue jurisdictions. No, this has an appeal to young people who feel otherwise maybe displaced or economically disadvantaged. And this is why it's so important to teach this. My mom said back when I was in school, they taught about the ills of socialism. Now we let kids skip school to protest essentially on behalf of socialism. Boy, how we've changed. And it's insidious when 68% of the Democratic Party says this is.
Yeah. Okay. May Day is an international public holiday. In most countries, it's a national holiday. It's a public holiday. Okay. Who cares if they skip school to go and protest? Like, no, May 1st is not a holiday in the United States of America. It's like, it's not even discussed in the United States of America. This is the first time. This is one of the first years in like the last couple of decades where May Day has had some kind of significance.
A positive ideology. It's an ideology that's been tested. It's not some faculty idea. It's one that's been tested in practice and failed every time it's been tried.
I'm always reminded of one of my very favorite sayings, which is when the pupil is ready, the teacher will be there. Which is kind of what you're always talking about. The fact that, you know, once the mind of a young person is opened up to something, if you're not there to teach them the right thing.
I still don't know what May Day is. I'm 17, so this is probably why. Chatter, May Day is the International Workers' Day, okay? It's a national holiday in most countries around the world, with the even in Europe, usually. There's a lot of protests and a lot of demonstrations that take place on May 1st, okay? May 1st is the day that we're talking about, and it is to commemorate the Haymarket Affair in Chicago. Ironically enough, it is actually the international workers movement cherishing the American workers movement, right? And remembering the Haymarket massacre as well. And yet in the United States of America, we don't even think about it, and we have a separate Labor Day. I believe, what do you mean even in Europe? I mean, come on, Europe is also a capitalist social democracy, right? Like, that's why I'm saying even in Europe, because it's expected for nations of the periphery to have some kind of remembrance for, you know, any kind of revolutionary holiday, because this is what it is. The only revolutionary holiday that Americans actually celebrate, ironically enough, is International Women's Day, which is another communist holiday. Once again, literally a fucking communist holiday. And Americans, of course, don't ever mention that part because it doesn't suit America's propaganda purposes. Here it is, by the way. This is, you know, the only place where Labor Day falls on May 1st. And in many of these places, it's actually a public holiday. With the exception of the gray areas where it has no public holiday on May 1st or Labor Day. America has a separate Labor Day. The Greens have a separate Labor Day or don't have a public holiday on May 1st. So America's, you know, like normally when you look at a map like this, when you look at like one of these maps that show you like, you know, the world versus the rest of the world versus the Western world, right? Like usually Europe follows America's lead. This is not one of those. This is not one of those instances. Like even Europe, even Western Europe is like, no, we celebrate it. It's important for us. It's so funny though, but it's funny because like America is such a domineering force of culture and also is so isolated from the rest of the world in many respects that most people don't even understand that. Most people don't even realize that this is a huge deal around the world, right? But it doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't even matter because we don't celebrate it, so it must not exist. Well, it's the rest of the world that's celebrating it on our behalf, ironically enough. So yeah, there's a reason for it. So I don't fault you for not knowing what May Day is, chatter. If you're an American, of course you're not going to know what it is. That's the whole point.
Pennsylvania Senate.
Fetterman trashing protests on Fox. Yeah. My commentary on John Fetty Wap turned into a thread by a Manhattan Institute guy who was like, he's being ableist to John Fetterman. It's unbelievable. Oh, my stars and garters. It was very funny. But let's finish this and then we'll get to it.
Somebody else is going to teach them the wrong thing.
Yeah, I always say, if you're not teaching your kids about socialism and the virtues of capitalism, boy, somebody else is going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I know you guys are all over this. Fox is all over this. They're reporting yesterday that there are 600 groups behind this that have $2 billion in funding, and it's being used in this manner. I keenly listened last week when Chip Roy said to me he's been having conversations with the administration that SPLC might have just been the tip of the iceberg and that they are actually looking at these Marxist socialist networks of groups and their connections. I really hope we see more litigation on that front if there is wrongdoing, because we've got to go after these organizations.
It's unbelievable that Kayleigh McEnany, previous press secretary for the White House, is over here being like, fantastic. Let's prosecute our ideological opponents, please. Yeah, these are the free speech guys, by the way. Free speech guys. We all know that it's bullshit, obviously, but it bears repeating. It's important to reinforce this idea that, like, free speech is just whatever they want. It only extends to their allies and their ideological enemies. They, of course, don't get any free speech. They want to prosecute their ideological enemies, okay? That's how it's always been. And that's how it will continue to be. So make no mistake.
If they're engaged in any sort of nefarious activity, he wouldn't go more than that.
Yeah, Marxism is hate speech, and that's not covered under the First Amendment, is the attitude here. It's awesome.
But there is a definite suggestion that these
Oh, my God, yeah. Okay, I got you. I'm going to show you Chuck Park. Chuck Park is a lot of HasanAbi heads work on his campaign. If I didn't show you this, he would explode. Okay, so I have to show you this. Here's Chuck Park getting arrested, being taken to One Police Plaza. He's a progressive running for Congress in New York 6. Okay.
We can't take it anymore. We gotta tax the rich. I'm being arrested. I'm being arrested because billionaires are born on democracy, man. We gotta tax the rich. Working people in Queens, we gotta fight back.
They represent the police side of Haymarket. Yes, that's handsome Chuck Park. Don't you feel that this getting arrested has become such obvious political theater lately? No. I mean, everything, by that estimation, everything is performance. Like, okay, yeah, you're doing a rally. That's performative. Okay? Like, what are you talking about? Are you getting arrested? Yeah, every speech is a performance. Okay? Okay, let's continue.
Kayleigh, let's broaden it a little bit, though, because this message is getting through in elections because we now have a list of socialists that I have said that the Democrat Party is now officially the party of Bernie Sanders. These are candidates running on the platform that 10 years ago Bernie Sanders was saying it and people were laughing it off. Now candidates are getting elected. It's not just
socialist-style Democrats with growing presence. Zohar Mamdani, Katie Wilson, Annalie Mejia, Graham Plattner, Hassan Piker, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Why am I on this list? I mean, this is an awesome list to be on, but it's so funny that they just like slam me onto it. Buddy, I'm a Twitch streamer. You're so stupid. You're so dumb.
here in New York City with Zohar Mamdani, Katie.
Yeah, they're like, hey, listen, man, Drake, bro, thinks he's on the team image. Bro, I don't think I'm on the team. I'm not doing that. They're making it seem like I'm running for not only just any office, but the presidency, okay? They're like, oh, this is Hassan Piker, this dangerous socialist. He's going to be president one day. It's like, no, I don't plan to do any of these things, okay? I am a fucking Twitch streamer who just pussy. Okay. What does that mean? Do you want me to run for president? Is that why you're calling me a pussy? Is that what it is? First time chatter? You're like, oh, dude, you're a pussy. You should. Now, what's funny about all this is that, first of all,
and pussy too.
That's the only thing I'm running for. Okay, I'm running in that direction. I'm running in the direction of,
and pussy too.
That's right. But also, these guys are so funny. All my haters are so funny. They're like, bro, you never go outside. You never put yourself out there. Now I'm putting myself out there, and these guys are up my ass. And then they're like, oh, you're a pussy. It's like, buddy, you lose your mind when there's like a second of attention on you. Like if this community were to figure out what your other social media accounts look like, and then they start, yelling at you about your perspective for even like approximately 30 seconds, where you lose like a fraction of your anonymity, you genuinely lose your mind. You freak the fuck out. I have to exist under this microscope on a daily basis.
Wilson out in Seattle, and Lilia Mejia in New Jersey, who won Mikey Sherrill's seat. She was a moderate, and Mejia is now possibly the most liberal far-left member of Congress. And then, of course, you've got the oysterman, Graham Plattner, who's a neophyte politician that has a Nazi tattoo and wants to abolish ICE, Hassan Piker, that's been driving it, getting more and more traction with young people. And of course, AOC, that if you think about it, AOC was really kind of the first major win, if you will, for Sanders taking over the Democrat Party.
That's right. And Rachel makes a great point in saying if you're not teaching your children about this, someone is. You brought up the fantastic point today that preschools are teaching about social justice. I started thinking about my 3-year-old who can barely put a sentence together. And thank God his school doesn't engage in this activity, but there are schools that are. It's wild.
That's what they do in Cuba.
Yeah. My 3-year-old came out and said, Mommy, isn't sharing caring? And I said to my 3-year-old, you shut your stupid mouth. What are you, a socialist? Absolutely not. I told my dumbass 3-year-old, you have to extract as much surplus labor value from the people that you hire. Otherwise, they will steal from you. It's theft. Lack of exploitation is the true theft. Thank God I shut it down real quick. Made sure that my dumbass 3-year-old knew sharing is not caring. Sharing is communism and therefore terrifying.
Kaylee, that's what they do in Cuba.
Exactly right. And it's so subtle.
Yeah, sharing is a moral hazard. Stupid ass 3-year-old baby.
Watching a pop culture series, one of these series you follow show by show. I ended up stop watching it because midway through they were bringing these socialist ideas forward in a way that was packed.
Oh my God, she's not joking. Oh my God, she's sincerely saying that right now. Oh my God. That's unbelievable. She literally is like, no, my baby is not going to share the crayons. My baby, it's not even a bit. She's unironically being like, Bluey's a fucking communist. Bluey, Bluey, it's more like ready, okay? Ready to seize the means of production. You better stop this real quick. Capitalism is anti-human. As far as ideologies goes, it's sociopathic, okay? All of the foundations, all of the social conditioning that you learn normally about, being a kind person, being a good person is antithetical to the capitalist indoctrination. And that's why you're seeing as contradictions worsen, as people recognize the design of capitalist society broadly, you're going to see a lot of propagandists who are servants of capital make increasingly insane statements.
package so bright and shiny. The girl didn't have health care, and it was a sad story. And she gravitates towards taking on the higher-ups and the elites, which makes sense on a surface level until you dig down and realize Ken Griffin is creating 15,000 jobs.
Yeah, that's what I told my 3-year-old. Ken Griffin is creating 15,000 jobs, stupid baby. Stupid 3-year-old. No pied-à-terre tax for Ken Griffin, please. That's the kind of high-level intelligent conversations I'm having with my communist baby. I hate my communist seed.
Permanently 7,000 jobs with the project, and you run the billionaires out, you run the jobs out, the wealth, the taxation, the charitable income, etc.
What's the response, though, for the right? Like, how should the right respond to this trend? And, I mean, it's always been there, but now we're seeing them take power.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about it because this trend is not a trend, okay? It is a never-ending struggle, okay? All history revolves around exactly this struggle. That's number one. Number two, the trend that you are recognizing is just people recognizing their current class position and their current day-to-day experiences worsening year over year and deciding to look for alternatives that have always existed. But it's an inevitability. The only time where this movement, this kind of movement, has been successfully tampered, successfully suppressed is both militarily through increasingly fascistic, increasingly authoritarian initiatives implemented not just in Nazi Germany or fascist Italy, by the way, certainly in the United States of America as well, under the guise of, liberalism, even though, as we already discussed, Haymarket affair is one great example of this, and there's a million other examples. But also, it's been successfully suppressed by way of the welfare state. The welfare state has given a lifeline to liberal capitalism. And because of the unlimited greed of capital, they've forgotten that if you don't give any amenities to your industrialized labor class, if you constantly take away their well-paying jobs, if you take more and more of their productive output because there's diminishing there are diminishing profits no matter what due to technological expansion, and the appetite for more profit seeking never goes away. So you just end up suppressing your labor force because labor is the most malleable aspect of production. The gig economy is the only viable option for many American workers at this point. And when that's their reality, and rent keeps going up, when there's an inflation crisis taking shape, accelerated due to the foreign interventions that our unbelievably violent government engages in, and an energy crisis that now is taking shape that's impacting America as well, all of a sudden, people are going to say, all right, well, we need something else. You're forcing their hand. In many respects, you're forcing their hand into looking for different alternatives and finding out that those alternatives have always existed and perhaps even existed here in the United States of America before they were militarily suppressed.
What should the right be doing?
I think the answer is where you began. Charlie Kirk understood it. And the people that Charlie Kirk trained, Andrew Colvett, Tyler Boyer, Erica, his wife, who sat with him and his brilliant ideas every day. This organization is the home. They understand how to appeal to young people. They're on campuses. And this is why the left is endeavoring to create an organization to take on Turning Point. We have to start there. We have to fill schools that do not engage in this activity with our students. And we have to try to fix the institutions that are there by withholding donor money from institutions that engage in this.
So this is not just protesters. You actually have Democrats in power who are sort of acting on a lot of this stuff. The Department of Justice is still uncovering examples where the previous administration, the Biden administration, actually used the Justice Department to actually go after people based on politics. Tell us about some of that.
I could not believe, I could, but yet I still could not, this 557-page report. I I woke up in the middle of the night 2 nights ago. I couldn't stop reading it because everything we have covered on this network, from the parents being targeted to the priests being targeted, the radical traditional Catholics, the pro-life protesters, some of whom I sat across from and interviewed, we now have the text messages that went on in the DOJ behind this. We have documents. I found a document where a prosecutor was calling Christian pro-life views culty. This is what they think of us. And the question that I have is this: how far up the chain did this go? Were these rogue prosecutors? Was it Merrick Garland orchestrating it? Was it Joe Biden orchestrating this? How far up the chain did this go? Because you look at these examples, this seems coordinated.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News.
Here's Jesse Waters having John Fetty Wap on Fox News to respond to these May Day protests as well.
John Fetterman. Okay, Senator. How big of a threat do you think this communist movement is?
Well, I mean, there's that phrase where terrible or bad ideas refuse to die. And it's very sad to see that kind of things being revisited in this kind of way. And a lot of these, these terrible groups like Code Pink and a lot of the other ones that are strongly aligned to the CCP, without a doubt, they're being financed. I mean, it's ironic. I mean, these kinds of protests are being funded by billionaires against billionaires. I mean, I don't know if
I know that you're both pro-worker and anti-war, but I want to push on that. Would you be in favor of a U.S. government that uses the U.S.'s might to threaten to and intervene on countries with low tax for the rich for them to increase them? What? You're saying, like, we have a communist government, and the communist government is unbelievably militant, and there's a United States that's like the United Soviet States, okay? But there's still like a capitalist European Union or something, and America is now going to say, hey, we'll militarily intervene unless you give your workers more rights. Is that what you're saying? What kind of question is this? Yes? Do you think the world would look the same? Where would there be any... Let's say America magically overnight turns into a communist utopia. Why would any other country not also move in that direction, especially our vassals? Like, this is a ridiculous hypothetical. I'm doing Trotskyism, but as a Maoist American.
They realize the irony in many of those things right now. And now there is kind of a small communist takeover in Maine. You know, Plattner, he's already announced that he's an avowed communist. He's made that statement and he put that online. Now he's going to be the Democratic nominee. So there is a resurgence about the socialism, and that's becoming more and more part of it. And now there's more.
Yeah, would you be in favor of a permanent international revolution in the hands of a Trotskyist American militant state that will, invade Switzerland militarily? Is that what the argument is? Like, let's focus on this current existence, okay? And not like an unbelievable hypothetical that will never take shape regardless. It's so funny. Yeah, we will take our tanks and we will storm the barricades of Switzerland. Zurich, you are next.
It's like a marriage of the Palestinian, the anti-ICE, the abolish ICE, and now turning it in to like an orgy of socialism here. And that's sad because it's supposed to be about labor, like unions. I'm a proud pro-union Democrat, but the kinds of mess that you see are showing up.
Yeah, it's ironic because labor unions historically have always been about this. Throughout the history of trade unionism, it's actually this is rare to see labor movements not focus on the international working class in any way, shape, or form. That's what labor unions used to do. Okay, yeah, John is pro AFL-CIO. Yeah, that is The American labor union movement has unfortunately morphed into this this pro-capitalist machine. Now that is hopefully going to change as well, but the reality of the matter is, for the longest time, the history of labor militancy has always been international. Okay?
And many of them, I mean, that is the worst impulses that our party continues. We just seems to can't resist those things.
It's so funny that he's like, well, what's up with these labor unions and the international solidarity amongst the working class? Like, what the fuck is that about? What is this socialism shit coming from labor unions? What? Labor unions are not socialist. After all, we made it illegal for them to have any communism in the labor union. That is by law, by the way. It is literally illegal in the United States of America to this day for someone who is a self-avowed communist or any Communist Party member to run a labor union. Did you guys know that? That is the fucking law in this country. First Amendment, by the way. First Amendment, my ass. Anyway, I always appreciate John Fetterman because, yes, he is living, breathing proof that brain damage makes you more right-wing.